The Query Manager form is one of the true power tools of PCAs. Originally designed by Fabio Cunial, it was expanded by Roberto Franzosi to provide greater user-friendliness and query flexibility, enabling the use of external data and not just PCA's data. The Query Manager form provides an easy way of building queries for data retrieval, one based on the grammar of data collection that you set up in the setup form, rather than on the PCA's database tables. Via a convenient GUI, graphical user interface, the QM will do the conversion automatically for you of your grammar, which you know, to the PCA's tables, which you probably do not know. The QM is a great tool. Use it. How does the QM work? Let's open the QM form by hitting the function key F6. Okay, let's deal with tips. We have learned how to deal with them in the Getting Started video. Here you can ignore them by saying no, or you can open them and read them. When you do not want to be reminded to read the tip file again, you can just click on the button I am an expert in the top left corner of the forum, and you can close the forum by clicking on the close button on the top right corner. And this is what you see. The forum opens on the File tab. If you have saved queries, you can select the one you want and double-click on the query name to display it in the graphic area. Let's try that with the one of the simple database saved queries, the network AFI. And this is what it will look like. A couple of quick things about the graphic area. The graph is too big to view it all, so you can click on the View tab and make the graph smaller by using the Zoom in and Zoom out buttons here. Alternatively, you can click on an empty part of the tab and drag a graph around, like this. A single click on any terminal object displayed in the graphic area is equivalent to hitting the Select and Filter tab, and a double click on any terminal object is equivalent to hitting the Select and Filter tab and then choosing to exclude the node from the output. You can now click the Run button, the exclamation sign on the top left corner of the form, to run a query, or you can also hit F3 directly and run the query. The results will be shown in the Query Results form. As you can see, the Query Results form has a lot of buttons and options. For now, we ignore all of that, close the form, and return to the Query Manager, but make sure to watch the tutorial for the Query Results form. So we have run a pre-built query, but surely you want to build a query of your own rather than the couple of queries available as test files in the simple database. Let's try that. Hit the Build Query tab, then the New Query button, the top leftmost button, and now choose what you want to retrieve. Complex objects, documents, or even user tables, for example tables that you have created by exporting query results or importing an Excel file. Let's give it a go using the complex object. Suppose you want to know what actors do. In the grammar of the sample database, actors and actions are related to each other in specific semantic triplets. You can always take a quick look at the right rules of the grammar or even have a dynamic display of the grammar by clicking on the View tab and hit the button View Grammar. Now click on the View Grammar button, then select the first option. And this is what it looks like with the grammar object displayed in a tree-like form. Click on the semantic triplet to expand it. The tree displays the basic building block of a triplet, or of a sentence, the participant S, process, and participant O, using the language of linguist M.K. Halliday, or more simply, subject, verb, or object, and object. Now let's go back to our problem of building a query about who does what, pro or against someone else. Three pieces of information that we call semantic triplet. So let's select the semantic triplet as our starting object. And that object will be now displayed in the graphic area. On the right, in the text box labeled alias children and other objects, there will appear a list of all the objects available for the semantic triplet. These are all the children of the semantic triplet. To understand the language of simplex and complex objects, parents and children, do watch the video tutorial on PCA's grammar or read the tips files, Understanding PCA's Language. The QM will place you automatically in the first available child complex object, basically an object that has children. This is an object marked by a plus sign or plus plus sign if it is a hierarchical complex object. In the case of semantic triplet, the first child is participant S, the participant in the triplet as subject. Let's double click on participant S to select it. Notice how a selected object takes a darker shade of gray, so that we know which object you're working on. Under participant S, now you can select an actor, then an individual or a collective actor, or even an organization. Let's select individual. In the text box, alias children and other objects, the QM will place the selection on the first required simplex or complex object. In our case is the simplex name of individual actor. That is what you want in order to display the value of the name of individual actor. So let's select that object. The QM has now automatically displayed a value icon in green. Objects in green are the objects that will be displayed in output in the query results form. You will have noticed how the shape of the objects displayed in the graphic area are not all the same. Complex objects, simplex objects, documents, user tables, and terminal objects all have different shapes. If you forget what each shape means, click on the View tab and you get all the available shapes and their names. Thus, Semantic Triplet, Participant S, Actor, Individual have the same shape. These are all complex objects. The simplex object name of individual actor has a different shape, and so does value. When an object displayed in the graphic area is selected, this text box will display the type and name of the object, and for simplex and terminal objects, their value type. For example, whether they are text or memo value types, boolean, number, or dates. Okay, it's a good time to pause and see what we have done. Hit the Run Query button, and there you go. Query results are shown in the query result form. Okay, this looks good. It gives you a list of all the individual actors available in the database. But this is not what we wanted. We wanted to find out what actors do, the kind of action each one of these actors listed in the query result form does, and pro or against whom. So let's close this form for now and return to the Query Manager form. Go back up to the Semantic Triplet image, click on it to select it, and visualize the text box alias children and other objects. Now select Process, then Simple Process, and now select Verbal Phrase. Verbal phrase represents the actual action performed. Now go back up to the Semantic Triplet and click on it to select it. Go to the text box, alias children and other objects, and select Participant O and Individual Actor, then Name of Individual Actor. You can drag the image in the graphic area so that you can see what it looks like. To do that, you need to hold down the left mouse button and drag the tree. If the query gets too complex and you start running out of space in the graphic area, you can hit the View tab and makes the graph smaller or bigger. Again, you can click F3 or click on the Run button to run the query. You get a list of what the individual Negro did, Negro using the newspaper language at the time, pro or against someone else. So we are done. We built a basic query and visualized the results. Now let's save the query and let's name it Triplet Test. But there is much more that you can do in the Query Manager form. Make sure to watch all the other QM videos.